The Chinese in the 12th century were first to wind excess fishing line on their rods before unreeling it back into the water. Today's reels have gears to quickly deploy and retrieve the line. They're made with lightweight, high-strength materials, so you can catch bigger, stronger fish, or at least try to. Antique reels are heavy and have just one speed. Modern reels have 2 speeds and fewer parts. To make a reel's frame, a computer-guided router cuts 4 openings in a cylinder made of aluminum. They let the angler, the person fishing, access the spool inside the frame to undo any knots in the line. Another cutting machine shapes a stainless steel blank into a spindle, the inner part of the reel around which the fishing line winds. It also carves 2 pinion gears into the piece. The high gear retrieves line faster, the low gear gives more power to fight big fish. The machine's cutters are made of carbide, an extremely durable material. Even so, workers change them weekly. Another cutter carves the reel's main gears, a high speed and a low speed. These main gears interact with the pinion gears to make the spool revolve. This lets the angler wind line back onto the reel. This cutter drills small indentations, part of the reel's drag system, which lets the angler adjust line tension to fight large fish. The next cutter engraves the company name into one of the reel's 2 side plates. Yet another cutter engraves the drag settings, 1 through 4, and then strike. Strike lets the angler fight fish weighing up to 2,000 pounds. Next, a process called anodizing. The side plates are dipped in a series of chemical baths that bind a gold-colored dye to their surface. Now, time to assemble the fishing reel. First, they apply waterproof grease and lubricant to 2 safety catches that prevent an angler from applying too little or too much line tension. A worker then adds a bearing to support the spindle and the spool. He also installs what's called a click plate that makes clicking sounds when a fish takes the line. He adds a stainless steel spindle sleeve and drag plate, and a sturdy synthetic washer. He then adds the spindle and pinion gears to the spool. The spool is now ready to go into the frame. Using a rotating clamp to steady the reel, another worker installs a stainless steel fixture that attaches the reel to the rod and installs the left side plate with 6 screws. This metal spring and plunger enable the angler to change speeds from high to low with just the push of a button. A metal clip locks the mechanism in place. A little grease to the gearing, then a plastic cover, and the spool is fully assembled. He inserts it in the frame and installs a harness lug used to attach the reel to what's called a fighting harness, worn to prevent a fish from yanking the rod out of your hands. Now the worker mounts the right side plate. He adds a lever and a knob to adjust the drag settings. You turn the knob clockwise for more tension, counterclockwise for less. Next, he installs the stainless steel and plastic knob you use to reel in the line. And finally, the button for switching speeds. He tests the drag lever and gears to check if they engage properly. He puts it into high speed to see if the safety catch prevents what's called free spooling, a glitch that could send a half mile of line flying wildly out of control and leave you reeling. The Chinese in the 12th century were first to wind excess fishing line on their rods before unreeling it back into the water. Today's reels have gears to quickly deploy and retrieve the line. They're made with lightweight, high-strength materials, so you can catch bigger, stronger fish, or at least try to. Antique reels are heavy and have just one speed. Modern reels